Every working day, 4 people are diagnosed with MS in Australia. At present, it is a lifelong disease where the progress, symptoms and severity of it cannot be predicted. Diagnosis is typically between the ages of 20 and 40 years old. 1 in 20 Australians will be touched by it through a family member, colleague or friend living with it. It costs Australia $2 billion each year and every year. 3 times as many women than men have it in Australia. 2.5 million people worldwide live with it, and approximately 23,000 Australians have it, and so do I. So, after my diagnosis, I experienced minor symptoms such as pins and needles, weakness, really on the left-hand side, and my balance was a bit off. However, in 2009, I had a really big relapse, and it paralysed me. So, if you draw a line down the middle of my body, the entire left-hand side just stopped working. My face dropped, my neck, my shoulder, my arm twisted, it kind of looked like a stroke, and it just stopped working. My hip and my leg and my foot. So I couldn't pick up a cup, I couldn't pick up a fork and knife, I couldn't pick up a spoon or a pen or my phone. So what happens when you have an attack with MS and you've got a lesion in your brain, the lesion becomes inflamed into larger. So the electrical impulses that run through that part of the brain stop working. So whatever that functions in your body stops working as well. So I obviously had a really big lesion on the right-hand side, which just cut off the entire left-hand side. So what they do then is you go to hospital and they give you steroids to reduce the inflammation, typically for 3 days. So that's what I did. Nothing changed. So they extended it for 5 days. Nothing changed. Then they transferred me to rehabilitation at Epworth, Richmond. And I stayed there for 2 months. I had to learn how to use my hand again. I had to learn how to pick things up. I had to learn how to crawl and then walk again. It was a time of rock bottom. I had to ask myself, will I ever walk again? And I was stretched emotionally and physically beyond normal comprehension. You don't know what you're capable of in times like this. So I remember sitting with the neurologist at the time and I asked him, what are the chances that I will get all of this back and walk? And his answer was, I don't know, I can't say that it will, can't say that it won't, it's really unpredictable, we just got to wait. And that was the blackest time for my entire life. So in a nutshell, the doctors gave me a 50% chance of ever walking again. But I was determined to find another way. It took only 10 days to become completely paralysed. My twin sister Nicole had to drag me on her back up the stairs to get to my doctor. I lost my body, my big fashion career, and life as I knew it. And I found myself in rehab, and the work began. So I actually remember a moment in rehab, and I was sitting in my wheelchair, and they gave me an exercise to get my hand to open and close again. And I had tears running down my face because it was just so hard. But in that moment, a switch flicked in my head, and I just decided, no, this is not going to be my future. I want a different way. There was no option in my mind other than to get better. And I didn't want to just walk, I wanted to run. Stubborn little thing that I am, I channeled it. It served me well in that time. So 3 sessions a day, 5 times a week. I was first in at physio and I was the last to leave, begging them to give me more and more exercises. The physios warned me that it would take time to learn how to walk again, pick things up, drive a car, and it would be luck if it came back at all. But with the help of wonderful doctors, amazing physiotherapists, and a very special kinesiologist that came into my life, in 6 weeks, I ran around that oval. It wasn't the prettiest of runs, but wasn't just me. I had an amazing team of people behind me who made me believe that I could do it. These people stood with me when I couldn't stand. These people helped me get to where I am today, standing here in front of you. So, how did I do it? I'll share that with you just next. But first, it must be mentioned here that I could not have come through all of this with the determination that I had if it had not have been for my loving family and supporting friends. In particular, my twin sister Nicole. She was there virtually every night in my single hospital bed sleeping next to me. And in the morning, if we had a nice nurse, they weren't always nice, but if we had a nice nurse, she would draw the curtains and say, "Morning twins," and bring in breakfast too. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate her unconditional love through the hardest time of my life. Sometimes, because the whole left-hand side wasn't working, I would fall over. Sometimes it was funny, sometimes it wasn't, and I would just dunk like a turtle. I can't get up! But some of the falls were horrific, but because she was there, we would laugh instead of cry. So every Tuesday night, in my early 20s then, we had girls' night. I have a fantastic group of friends, beautiful girls, some of them with very busy, high-powered jobs, but we always made time for each other on Tuesday nights. And so obviously at that time I couldn't be there, so they came to me. Busy women on their mobiles, charging through the hallway in the hospital, and they came, and every Tuesday night they sat with me and spent girls' night in hospital. One Tuesday, they threw me in the wheelchair, took me down to the pub. I couldn't drink at the time. It was 6 months, actually. And not that I really drink much anyway, but you know, the whole... So we went down to the pub, and we laughed, and we laughed, and we laughed, just for an hour, and forgot all about the hell that was going on. And it was that very day and evening that I came back to my room, and my twin went to the bathroom, and an electrical something happened in my head, and something connected, and my toe moved for the first time. And every single person on that floor in hospital knew about it. My toe moved! I was like, all right, I'm coming in the toilet! And in that moment, I just knew that everything was going to be okay. Week by week, I got movement back in my toe, my foot, then my face, then my fingers and my hand. I progressed from being in a wheelchair to having a foot brace, and then my knee being taped up, and then to walking on my own. And those first few steps to freedom were indescribable. As horrific as the experience of paralysis was, it was equally as joyful taking those first few steps. I spent so many months in rehab, surrounded by car accidents, strokes, and brain injuries. So many stories, so much suffering. And I found that I had reevaluated my life. This sort of stuff changes you. Lose what needs to be lost to find what needs to be found. One of my favourite quotes. Because once I was stripped of everything, money, career, boyfriend, everything, I found my light, because everything got dark. It's kind of like a candle being lit now in the daylight. You don't really notice it, but once the lights come down and everything gets a bit more dim, you notice. So I went home and I wanted to study and research how I recovered so rapidly. So now, 6 years on, I'm so happy to be able to share my story with you all today, with the hope to inspire you to do your own research for your wellness and your own nutrition and recovery. Because we all have specific answers that will work individually for each of us, and it is very much a personal journey. So, what have I learnt on my journey so far? I've learnt that we need to give our body the right environment it needs to actually repair and thrive again. For me, taking a balanced approach and utilising all that Western medicine has available to us, whilst managing our stress levels, understanding what stresses us out, and combining all of this with complementary medicine gave me the best results. Kinesiology accidentally changed my life. But once I addressed my nutrition, this is when I noticed the most profound results for me. Now I realise that I need to nourish my body on a cellular level to keep achieving results. And so from then on, now this is my 6th year of no disease progression, 6 years in a row consecutively of no new lesions on my MRI scans, and I've even actually managed to reverse most of my symptoms. So what's kinesiology? So kinesiology looks at the muscles because they are connected to the brain via the nervous system. And yes, I do believe kinesiology was a huge part of why I ran so quickly in 6 weeks. It was quite unheard of because it wakes the muscles up to the brain quickly. The most wonderful gift that kinesiology also gave me was this. How you think and feel every day is a mirror image of what goes on inside of your body biochemically, but also a mirror image of what you see in your reality around you. Think about that. So you've got the conscious part of the brain. Think of an iceberg. The top of the iceberg is the conscious part of your brain. Underneath, the larger part of the iceberg is the subconscious part of your brain. And that actually runs 90% of all your processes and reactions. So how you react and perceive things in your life is from there, from your beliefs. And that's the part of the brain that I have access to as a kinesiologist. So if any of your beliefs are limiting or negative, they may cause inflammation, stress, maybe disease. So I use kinesiology as a tool. I call it physical psychology, and I use it as a tool because it connects the body with the mind, utilising traditional Chinese medicine techniques. I've mastered tuning up the bladder, so a lot of my clients do experience frequency and urgency of the bladder, and it's obviously an MS symptom, but not limited to people who have it. That's not limited to just MS. People have weak pelvic floors, and it's a life-changing event when you tune up someone's bladder. I help people connect their muscles back up to the brain. I help people with biochemical stress, gut health, hormones, nutrition, and I also, as I said, have access to the bottom of the iceberg, helping people understand what their limiting beliefs might be. So when I came across JOM, I instantly resonated with it. I love JOM because it resonates so much, and the concepts fall so in line with how I help my clients every day. In every second of every day, we have a new opportunity to be the next grandest version of ourselves that we decide to be. And JOM helps you with how. JOM guides you, supports you, is a go-to source daily to help you with this process. It helps you address all aspects of the why that one needs to address to create balance again in their lives. So today I've given you an insight about MS, what it is, how it affected me, my life and my family. I hope that by sharing with you my journey, you come away feeling inspired to start your own discovery of wellness and prevention. Now I have found that after shedding so much in my life and having to learn to bend like bamboo with all the rapid change that occurred to me in such a short period of time, and after eliminating all the noise, I woke up, and all I want to do now is help others find their light too and wake up, because this is where the magic lives. I now see that life was designed so that we absolutely lose ourselves, and the meaning of life is how you find your way back. And after discovering, I've discovered that everything we've ever wanted or needed that we're constantly searching for through our girlfriends, boyfriends, cars, externally, was right here the whole time. I've now dedicated my life assisting others rebuild their lives at my clinic called Bend Like Bamboo, just up the road on Gazette Street, and now you know why I called it Bend Like Bamboo. And whilst consulting and researching, there are two key things that I learned that creates wellness and a success. And they are, one, being connected and aligned and maintaining a high frequency, being in touch with your intuition, guidance and spirit daily. understanding your value. So now I live an extraordinary life. I have found my life, and as a result, I'm manifesting wonderful things in my life. I'm an MS coach. I spend my days helping other people. I'm a speaker. I'm an MS ambassador, soon to be author. And I've now also started my second business called Nourish, my very own food range. So I've been consulting for a few years now, helping clients improve the way that they eat. And it became clear that we needed a simpler way. That's how Nourish was born. Nourish is a healthy, feel-good, whole food service of ready-made meals that takes care of it all for you. I've teamed up with investors, professional chefs and a nutritionist who are working together with me on this very exciting project. This food gave me a second chance at my life, and I just want to share it with everybody. So I'm grateful for the little things in life, like being able to eat my breakfast today with 2 hands, being able to go out for dinner, and put heels on if I want, because I can now. Having MS has not stopped me from doing things in life. I do have to slow down and look after myself. But I'm so glad that I discovered that simply by slowing down, stripping it all back, and enjoying all the luxuries we all can enjoy, simple luxuries that we can all enjoy every day, is actually the recipe to happiness. So if I can leave you with just 2 things today to marinate on. Never underestimate the power of love or what you can achieve when you believe in yourself. Thank you to Amanda and Maxine and Erin for having me today, and thanks for having me on. Thanks for caring.